It is good to be in the house of the Lord. I enjoyed that worship. I needed that worship. But there were a couple of things I just really appreciated that reminder of and really needed to seal down in myself again this morning, like I need to on a daily basis. That last song for sure. Jesus, be the center. Be my source. Be my light. Be my life. Let it all be about you. And one other, if I can find, I want to do it exactly how the chorus had it. From the song, Surrender. If you can use a fool to shame the wise, if you are pleased with humble sacrifice, if all it takes to come to you is faith just like a child, then here's mine. Oh yeah, because that's it. It's that simple. God says you can come. And something in your heart, like a toddler with someone that's smiling big and loves him, says you can come, he comes running. That's what faith is. And I've been dealing with some fear issues in my life for the past week or so, a little bit more than, been a little elevated. And God has been very gracious. I'm grateful. And that hope of who He is always enough if we will turn our faces towards Him as our source and our hope and our light. But we get messed up with this whole, I've got to have perfect faith, so I've got to turn to Him and trust Him so much that I'm not afraid, and that means I'm trusting Him, or then I'm losing to fear. Because there are a couple of different ideas that we have about fear that are totally incorrect. Totally. Fear is not the opposite of faith. Think about what that means. Substantive, opposite of faith, fear. That means you could put them on a scale. Put all faith on a scale on one side, all fear on a scale on the other side. And if you have equal amounts of faith and fear, it's perfectly balanced. There is no struggle, there is no war, and you are calm and at peace. There are people who teach that. It's not true. It means you're half in a state of panic all the time because you got half fear. But it also doesn't mean that they are opposites in that faith is used to do this, so fear does the opposite, because faith and fear are opposing substantive spiritual powers. Because faith and fear are not opposites. Fear is not the opposite of faith. Fear is the absence of faith. Now, don't hear me say that and think, oh no, I don't have any faith. No, that's not what I'm saying. Darkness is not the opposite of light either, not the way I mentioned. They are not of equal opposing powers. It doesn't matter how dark a room is, pitch black. One spark of light, light's winning. One little bit of light, and you can see your hand in front of your face. But no matter how much dark you add, you can't ever overpower light. Light can always overpower darkness. Darkness cannot always overpower light. It can never overpower light because it's not its opposite, it's its absence. Now this room is kind of dim, but there's plenty of light for us to see. That means that there is light and darkness mixed together in this room. That's what creates shadows and dimness and everything else. And that's a good thing. We need that, because when you get in a place that's really bright and perfectly white, you better put some sunglasses on or something, because you're going to burn your eyes. We can't handle pure light for long, looking right into it. Darkness is not the opposite of light. It's the absence. So sometimes, as long as you've got more light than dark, you can see. And as long as you've got more faith than fear, you've got faith. Now, how do I balance that? You don't need to get a scale out and measure, because it's not the opposites. Faith is like light. If you've got a little bit, that faith of a child, you've got enough to overpower fear, because fear is not its opposite. It's just that it's not there. Real quick, and I'll be done. An illustration. Jesus is our light. He is where we have our hope and our trust and our faith. That faith like a child. I've been looking at my childhood some. And I remember some of my childhood fears. And one of them was this long, narrow hallway at night at Jean Street, which is no longer there. It has been gone for, I don't know. Anyway, it's been gone a while. I had enough light from the street lights in my room that I could read at night if I turned towards the window. So my room was always just enough light to cast these really cool shadows, which could also be really, really scary and freaky. But I also knew that it was just shadows and I was fine. But that hallway scared me. I don't know why. It was just long and dark and scary. And the bathroom was on the other end of it. So when I had to get up in the middle of the night, and this is the longest hallway in any house I ever lived in. And it was way, way down. We bowled in this hallway. I learned to shoot a BB gun in that hallway. Target at the other end. And the bathroom's all the way down there, and I've got to go. And I don't want to, because I don't want to go through that dark blackness. But I know that bathroom light is down there. I can't see it. I just know it's there. And I may be terrified the whole time, but I know I knit and wet my pants, so I know I did it. Actually, I remember running or walking real quietly so I don't wake Mom and Dad up, because I didn't want them to know I was scared. Just fast as I could down that hallway. And then you get that bathroom door, and the second you hit that light switch, and it would shine into the hallway. And no, not the whole thing was lit up, but it was enough that you could see there's nothing in there. It's just the same old nothing. Empty hallway. Go to the bathroom. But now I got to go back. So I'm at the door, taking in the light, looking at the hall. There is nothing there. I can see. Now there's some shadow, but I can tell enough there's nothing there. And I know there's light in my room. Click, shut the door, down the hallway. Scared the whole time, but trusting in light that I couldn't even see at the time. That's called faith of a child. It didn't eliminate my fear. It enabled me to go to the bathroom and go back to bed and go to sleep. Faith of a child. God, you're with me. God, you've done it. Jesus, you are my answer and my hope. I can trust you. There's shadows in the way right now, and I may not be able to see your light, but I know you're there with me. And at the end of that hallway, there is going to be light, and I'm going to be able to flip on the switch and turn around and look behind me, and nothing was there, and you were there the whole time keeping me safe. Even if something was there. Because I've got some areas where I look back and I go, oh, I got shredded. That fear happened. And I look at it with the light of Jesus' truth on it. Oh, I see what we see when we look at Job. Not a perfect righteous man. Don't get me wrong there. I'm talking about a hedge where the enemy was able to come this close and no further because I should have died in that moment. I should have been hurt worse. I should have this, that, and the other. A lot of those times I thought abandoned and neglected of God. I can look back now and see it should have been way worse. There's no logical reason why it wasn't. Because God had me. We are safe in His light even when the shadows touch us. And a life of eternity with Him, fully restored, no pain, no sorrow, no shame, no guilt, no condemnation is worth whatever little struggle I have to go through for 20 or 30 years to understand who Jesus is and get that. Because, eternity outweighs it a long time. So finally, to shut up. Jesus didn't say, don't be afraid, because if you are, you'll manifest your fears into your life. He didn't say, don't be afraid, because if you are, I can't work because you don't have enough faith for me to work. He said, in this world, you're going to have hurt. You're going to have pain. You're going to have struggle. You're going to have tribulation. Hard, difficult times. Don't be afraid. Here's the reason. I have overcome the world. It has nothing to do with me, my thinking, inside me, anything else. It's nothing about me, how I handle fear. Why do I not need to be afraid? Because of who Jesus is. He overcame. When? On that cross. When the God-man wrapped in flesh gave His life for us to conquer death, sin, and fear. And then He rose to give us life and make us clean. No guilt, no shame, no fear can keep us from the Father if we keep our eyes on the light of Jesus at the end of our scary hallway. And He made it available to us when He bled and died and rose. And that's what we remember with communion. So embrace it. You're clean before your Lord. You don't have to be ashamed. You don't have to be afraid. You don't have to worry. Jesus is the answer. And He's offered Himself freely to all of us. If you trust in that, even with just I hope the light's on when I get to the bathroom so I don't have to turn it on myself and it's just that much faster. Come and thank Him for who He is and what He's done. Come as you will.